Morning, everyone. On behalf of the Bids and Awards Committee of DPWH Cagayan Developers, warmly welcome everyone, all the bidders, all the servers, especially from COA, MAM, representatives of Technical Working Group, Max Secretariat, uh, also the administrative, construction section, everyone who are present for this opening of bids for the two projects, namely, 268088. Fraction of the provision the Barangay Iponan, with an ABC of 14,049,973 pesos and 80 centavos, and 268000 to the developments of Carriageway, secondary roads, Cagayan de Oro City, Airport-Bukidnon, with an ABC of 90,217,369 pesos and 10 centavos. Begin with, I request, Mr. Caliber to please lead the prayer.
Joyce. Heavenly Father, all wisdom and understanding come from you alone. Pray for the wisdom, discernment, understanding that we need our us to serve you by our moving protect us. And we pray. Thank you.
I request the Secretariat of the role of the leads, perform the dates and the forum.
Good morning again. Attendance for today's opening of bids. Back Chairperson, Engineer Jennifer Imbanaag. Back Vice Chairperson, Engineer Anthony H. Casona. Regular Member, Engineer Grace D. Julian. Professional Members, Engineer Ione Grace P. Dampios and Engineer Shan Iggy B. Felicidario. Head Back Secretariat, Engineer Aida Marinila Bideroy. Members, Mr. Efren B. Paderes and yours truly. Head Back TWG, Mr. Marvin Julius J. Digal. Members, Engineer Camille Andy Escobedo. Engineer Melody Gail L. Bastida. Engineer Nino B. Biti. And Mr. L. John L. Cabigon. Observers from Arcoa, Ma'am Ginilyn M. Arbonida. That's all, Madam Chair.
For the summary of the bidders, who submitted their bidding documents for the 6800773. We have here 5 contractors. DSM Construction and Development Corporation, Vigilant Development Corporation, Victoria Development Corporation, and ML 73. So for this project, we will now open the envelope. Please take note that the other submitted envelope are all sealed. So let's begin with the information of the companies.
Silimbutan yung ganyan. Silimbutan, ito sa nagpilihan lang din. Tanaw sa ganyan ito. Ito yung nagpilihan lang din. 73 ang una. Ha? Wala na laging panda ni box.
Check mo, check mo.
Ang sa ganito? Nalimot na ko.
Third way out.
Saan?
May doon ka pa.
May dito
We
kayo.
inform also that each contractor submitted three copies, original and copy one, copy two, so we'll have evaluate their original documents.
Check mo.
025.
Sige, try daw yun. Wala din ako na nabilo ko. Ang technical.
025.
Bili man siya.
0.
We request that local
516 miss.
Our documents are all passed.
Sa tuon.
Wala lang ito mo, mag-insert lang. Insert sa kuan. Para ikapipit. Windings, symbol. Insert symbol. Yan sa windings. Windings.
As the box secretariat, Engineer Darol, to describe the eligibility screening of the set conductors in our application, single words application.
Oh, sige. Mag-stop share ko.
Windings.
Yung sa kanya,
Ano siya? Buwan sa
hindi control out. Out. Nalimot lang ko. 156 yan siguro. Yan, ito still.
ano pa ang Sabi ko, magulang ka ng kita. Dati mag-kita. Kanina nang pumunta. Then, research na sa yung checkbox research.
And it's okay. Macam itu.
Sir,
Ini lang po dari berapa
oh, hindi mo kita sa kanila.
basta po pero sa ganito.
And we acknowledge the presence of our sir, our representative, Engineer Norato.
Thank you, President.
Sir.
We have here the result from our civil works application.
Okay, I see that.
So for this contract, 2638-0753, we have 5 prospective bidders. First bidder, we have Edwinson Development and Construction Incorporated. Its mayor's permit is valid until June 7, 2027. The DTI is, its SEC registration is valid until June 13, 2067. For their PIR tax clearance certificate, it is valid until October 9, 2026, while their field jobs registration certificate is valid until November 9, 2026. For their pickup license, it is valid until November 13, 2026, while their pickup registration details is valid until June 15, 2027. For their work experience, the result is passed. For their NFCC, the result is passed with an amount of 3,631,754,391 pesos and 73 centavos. For our second prospective bidder, we have Victoria. Let's go first with the ISO report for Edwinson. So for Edwinson, it is issued by the URS with a validity until August 2027. For our second prospective bidder, we have Victoria Development and Ventures Corporation. Its mayor's permit is valid until December 31, 2026. For their SEC registration, it is valid until July 7, 2061. For their BIR tax clearance certificate, it is valid until March 6, 2027. While their field jobs registration certificate is valid until February 2, 2027. For their pickup license, it is valid until April 12, 2028. Their pickup registration is valid until August 2, 2027. For their work experience, the result is passed. For their NFCC, the result is passed with an amount of 5,611,492,558 pesos and 62 centavos. For their ISO certification, the certification body was issued by UCAS Management Systems with a validity until March 30, 2029. For our third prospective bidder, we have MLSJC Construction Services. For their mayor's permit, it is valid until December 31, 2026. For their BTI, it is valid until October 9, 2028. For their BIR tax clearance certificate, it is valid until May 21, 2027, while their field jobs registration is valid and certificate is valid until December 5, 2026. For their pickup license, it is valid until December 7, 2026, while their pickup registration is valid until December 7, 2027. For their work experience, the result is passed. For their NFCC, the result is also passed with an amount of 2,597,754,925 pesos and 3 centavos. For their ISO report, it is issued by Sean Bates TPCS International Group. For their validity, it is valid until May 14, 2029. For our fourth prospective bidder, we have Richie Natalie Development Corporation, wherein its mayor's permit is valid until December 31, 2026. Their BTI registration, their SEC registration is valid until April 12, 2071. Their BIR tax clearance certificate is valid until October 9, 2026, while their field tax registration certificate is valid until November 6, 2026. For their pickup license, it is valid until October 28, 2028, while their pickup registration is valid until January 29, 2027. For their work experience, the result passed. For their NFCC, the result is also passed with an amount of 5,311,815,804 pesos and 81 centavos. For our fifth prospective bidder, we have PSR Construction. For the ISA report for our fourth prospective bidder, Richie Babali. The issuing body is PAVIAF PQCSI with validity until February 22, 2029. For our last bidder, prospective bidder, we have USR Construction and Development Corporation. Their mayor's permit is valid until December 31, 2026. For their DTI, it is valid until June 24, 2026. For their BIR tax clearance certificate is valid until January 28, 2027. While their field tax registration certificate is valid until May 29, 2027. For their pickup license, it is valid until March 29, 2027, while the pickup registration is valid until May 16, 2028. For their work experience, the result is passed. For the NFCC, the result is also passed with an amount of 17,903,198,978 pesos and 37 centavos. That would be all for the ISO certification of our fifth prospective bidder, ESR Construction. It was issued by DEO GCL International Limited with a validity until September 4, 2027. So that would be all, Madam Chair, for our 5 prospective bidders for this contract. Thank you and good morning.
Stop share na. Zero two five. Lending. Lendings. Okay.
Okay, guys, thank you. So let's now hear from Commissioner Sona, who will be the result of the evaluation from DPWH.
Ano lang ko ang kuwan lang.
Excuse me, Madam Chair. So I have here the result. The contract ID 26KH00 plus 917 to kilometer 1452 plus 700 Cagayan de Oro City. Submitted. Statement of the bidder's single largest completed contract or SLCC submitted. Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board or pickup license submitted. Bid security submitted in form of BST. Organizational chart for the contract submitted. List of contractors key personnel submitted. List of contractors major equipment units submitted. 9001-2015 of ISO certification submitted. Original duly signed omnibus word statement submitted, and prospective bidders competition of net financial contracting capacity or NFCC submitted. So the overall rating for ASR Construction and Development Corporation passed the preliminary examination of technical component of the bid. For our second bidder, Regina Tali Development Corporation, a valid Philippines registration certificate submitted, statement of the prospective bidder of all its ongoing government and private contracts submitted, statement of the bidder single largest completed contract or SLCC submitted, Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board or PCAB license submitted, bid security submitted in form of PST, organizational chart for the contract submitted, list of contractors key personnel submitted, list of contractors major equipment units submitted, 9001-2015 of ISO certification submitted, original duly signed omnibus work statement submitted, and prospective bidders competition of net financial contracting capacity or NFCC submitted. Overall rating for Richie Natalie Development Corporation passed the preliminary examination of technical component of the bid. For our third bidder, Sound Development and Construction Incorporated, valid Belgium's registration certificate submitted, statement of the prospective bidder of all its ongoing government and private contracts submitted, statement of the bidder's single largest completed contract or SLCC submitted, Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board or PCAB license submitted, bid security submitted in form of BSP, organizational chart for the contract submitted, list of contractors key personnel submitted, list of contractors major equipment units submitted, 9001-2015 of ISO certification submitted, original duly signed omnibus work statement submitted, prospective bidders competition of net financial contracting capacity or NFCC submitted. The overall rating for Sound Development and Construction Incorporated passed the preliminary examination of technical component of the bid. For our fourth bidder, Victoria Development and Pictures Corporation, valid Belgium's registration certificate submitted, statement of the prospective bidder of all its ongoing government and private contracts submitted, statement of the bidder's single largest completed contract or SLCC submitted, Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board or PCAB license submitted, bid security submitted in form of BSD, organizational chart for the contract submitted, list of contractors key personnel submitted, list of contractors major equipment units submitted, 9001-2015 of ISO certification submitted, original duly signed omnibus work statement submitted, and prospective bidders competition of net financial contracting capacity or NFCC submitted. So overall rating for Victoria Development and Pictures Corporation passed the preliminary examination of technical component of the bid. For our last bidder, MLSGC Construction Services, valid Belgium's registration certificate submitted, statement of the prospective bidder of all its ongoing government and private contracts submitted, statement of the bidder's single largest completed contract, Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board or PCAB license submitted, bid security submitted in form of BSD, organizational chart for the contract submitted, list of contractors key personnel submitted. 9,115 of ISO certification submitted. Original jury sign omnibus words statement submitted. And capacity for services. Pass the preliminary examination of technical component of the bid. That's all, Madam Chair.
I interested bidders pass their preliminary examination of their bids for their technical proposal. So let's now open the sealed envelope for the financial proposal. May I request the secretariat? Also, other bank numbers. I have here the financial documents of the five interested bidders and may I request the PWG members to please evaluate their documents. Thank you.
Wala yung checkbox. Ito ba edit one? And resize ang checkbox. Ay, wala na. Wala. Yun sa lang.
Insert particular.
Ay, nanak na lang. Excuse me, Madam Chair. So I have here the result of the preliminary examination of financial component of the bid for the contract ID 26KH0073. Network Development of Carriageway Improvement, Secondary Road, CDO-Airport-Bukidnon, kilometer 1447 plus 917 to kilometer 1452 plus 700, Cagayan de Oro City. With the approved budget for the contract of 90,217,369 pesos at 10 centavos. For our first bidder, ESR Construction and Development Corporation. Original of duly signed and accomplished financial bid form submitted. Original of duly signed bill prices in the bill of quantities submitted. Detailed estimates submitted, and cash flow by quarter submitted. Overall rating for ESR Construction and Development Corporation passed the preliminary examination financial component of the bid. With the total amount of bid as read is 90,206,375 pesos and 79 centavos. Again, for ASR Construction and Development Corporation, their total amount of bid as read is 90,206,375 pesos and 79 centavos. For our second bidder, Richie Natalie Development Corporation, original of duly signed and accomplished financial bid form submitted. Original of duly signed bid prices in the bill of quantities submitted. Detailed estimates submitted. And cash flow by quarter submitted. Overall rating for Richie Natalie Development Corporation passed the preliminary examination of financial component of the bid. With their total amount of bid as read is 90,207,294 pesos and 73 centavos. Again, for Richie Natalie Development Corporation, their total amount of bid as read 294 pesos and 73 centavos. For our third bidder, Idwanson Development and Construction Incorporated, original of duly signed and accomplished financial bid form submitted. Original of duly signed bid prices in the bill of quantities submitted. Detailed estimates submitted. And cash flow by quarter submitted. Overall rating for Idwanson Development and Construction Incorporated passed the preliminary examination of financial component of the bid. With their total amount of bid as read is 90,208,661 pesos and 40 centavos. Again, for Idwanson Development and Construction Incorporated, their total amount of bid as read is 90,208,661 pesos and 40 centavos. For our fourth bidder, Victoria Development and Ventures Corporation, original of duly signed and accomplished financial bid form submitted. Original of duly signed bid prices in the bill of quantities submitted. Detailed estimates submitted. And cash flow by quarter submitted. Overall rating for Victoria Development and Ventures Corporation passed the preliminary examination of financial component of the bid, with their total amount of bid as read is 90,213,421 pesos and 90 centavos, with a discount of 10,000 pesos, resulting to a discounted bid amount of 90,203,421 pesos and 90 centavos. Again, for Victoria Development and Ventures Corporation, their total amount of bid as read is 90,213,421 pesos and 90 centavos, with a discount of 10,000 pesos, resulting to a discounted bid amount of 90,203,421 pesos and 90 centavos. For our last bidder, MLSGC Construction Services, original of duly signed and accomplished financial bid form submitted. Original of duly signed bid prices in the bill of quantities submitted. Detailed estimates submitted. And cash flow by quarter submitted. Overall rating for MLSGC Construction Services passed the preliminary examination of financial component of the bid with their total amount of bid as read of 90,206,676 pesos and 59 centavos. Again, for MLSGC Construction Services, their total amount of bid as read is 90,206,676 pesos and 59 centavos. That's all, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Don. Since all five interested bidders submitted their requirements for their financial documents, based on the result, all of them passed the preliminary examination financial. And with that, the based also in the result, the lowest bidder is Victoria Development and Ventures Corporation with the amount of 90,203,421 pesos and 90 centavos. Please be reminded that these results are all raw bids and is subject for post-qualification. So let's now proceed to the second project with contract ID number 26KH0088. Construction of multipurpose building in Barangay Iponan, Cagayan de Oro City with an ABC for approved budget for the contract of 14,849,973 pesos and 80 centavos. This contract ID, there are 5 interested bidders who dropped their bids, namely Light Construction and Supply, Advisor Construction Supplies and General Merchandise, Gagalawan Enterprises Incorporated, Manabol Enterprises, and Herawan Strength Construction. So let's now open their sealed envelope and let's evaluate their documents. Each contractor submitted 3 copies, the original, copy 1, and copy 2. But we have to evaluate the original for the basis of the completeness of the documents. So I request the DPWH to please evaluate their documents. I request Engineer Leroy to please run the eligibility screening of these contractors in our CWD. Thank you.
Diba?
Good morning, Madam Chair. There's now the result for the eligibility checking for contract ID 26AH 0088 for 5 resident leaders.
The roles can be read.
For the first bidder, One Enterprises. Its mayor's permit is valid until December 31, 2026. Their DTI is valid until October 20, 2026. Their BIR tax clearance is valid until February 25, 2027. Their field jobs registration certificate is valid until May 18, 2027. For their pickup license, it's valid until March 2, 2027. For the pickup registration, it's valid until March 29, 2028. For their work experience, the result is passed. NCC is also passed with an amount of 276,932,838 pesos and 8 centavos. For our second interested bidder, Light Construction and Supply, their mayor's permit is valid until December 31, 2026. Their DTI is valid until March 2, 2031. Their VIR tax clearance is valid until October 22, 2026. For their field jobs registration certificate, it's valid until May 19, 2027. For the pickup license, it's valid until August 8, 2026. For the pickup registration, it's valid until June 14, 2028. Their work experience is passed, or their NFCC is also passed with an amount of 56,397,951 pesos and 74 centavos. For the third bidder, Abaiser Construction Supplies and General Merchandise. Their mayor's permit is valid until December 31, 2026. Their DTI is valid until March 22, 2029. Their BIR tax clearance is valid until February 4, 2027. Their field jobs registration certificate is valid until April 26, 2027. For their pickup license, it's valid until June 6, 2027. For their pickup registration, it's valid until August June 6, 2028. For the work experience, the result is passed, and for the NFCC, it's also passed with an amount of 141,328,012 pesos and 12 centavos. For the fourth bidder, Hera One Strength Construction, their mayor's permit is valid until December 31, 2026. Their DTI is valid until March 7, 2030. For the BIR tax clearance, it's valid until February 26, 2027. For the field jobs registration certificate, it's valid until July 11, 2026. For the pickup license, it's valid until July 18, 2026. For the pickup registration, it's valid until July 18, 2027. Their work experience, the result is passed. For the NFCC, it's also passed with an amount of 127,294,613 pesos and 18 centavos. For our fifth interested bidder, Tagalawan Enterprises Incorporated, their mayor's permit is valid until December 31, 2026. Their SEC registration is valid until March 6, 2068. For the BIR tax clearance, it's valid until June 2, 2027. For the field jobs registration, it's valid until field jobs registration certificate, it's valid until August 10, 2026. For the pickup license, it's valid until October 8, 2026. For the pickup registration, it's valid until October 11, 2027. For the work experience, the result is passed. For the NFCC, it's also passed with an amount of 1,510,450 pesos and 41 cents.
DPWH.
I have here the result of the preliminary examination of technical component of the bid for the contract ID 56KH0088. Construction of a purpose building in Barangay Iponan, Cagayan de Oro City, Misamis, Oriental, with a coordinates of 124.60554 degrees, 8.49596 degrees. For our first bidder, Light Construction and Supply, valid Belgian registration certificate submitted. Statement of the prospective bidder of all its ongoing government and private contracts submitted. Statement of the bidder's single largest completed contract or SLCC submitted. Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board or PCAB license submitted. Bid security submitted in form of PSD. Organizational chart for the contract submitted. List of contractors' key personnel submitted. List of contractors' major equipment units submitted. Original duly signed Limos work statement submitted. And the prospective bidders competition of net financial contracting capacity or NFCC submitted. So the overall rating for Light Construction and Supply passed the preliminary examination of technical component of the bid. For our second bidder, Amazon Construction Supplies and General Merchandise. Valid diligence registration certificate submitted. Statement of the prospective bidder of all its ongoing government and private contracts submitted. Statement of the bidder's single largest completed contract or SLCC submitted. Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board or PCAB license submitted. Bid security submitted in form of PSD. Organizational chart for the contract submitted. List of contractors' key personnel submitted. List of contractors' major equipment units submitted. Original duly signed omnibus work statement submitted. And prospective bidders competition of net financial contracting capacity or NFCC submitted. So overall rating for advisor, construction supplies and general merchandise passed the preliminary examination of technical component of the bid. For our third bidder, Tagalawan Enterprises Incorporated, valid Belgium's registration certificate submitted. Statement of the prospective bidder of all its ongoing government and private contracts submitted. Statement of the bidder's single largest completed contract or SLCC submitted. Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board or PCAB license submitted. Bid security submitted in form of PSD. Organizational chart for the contract submitted. List of contractors' key personnel submitted. List of contractors' major equipment units submitted. Original duly signed omnibus work statement submitted. And prospective bidders competition of net financial contracting capacity or NFCC submitted. So overall rating for Tagalawan Enterprises Incorporated passed the preliminary examination of technical component of the bid. For our fourth bidder, Nunabon Enterprises, valid Belgium's registration certificate submitted. Statement of the prospective bidder of all its ongoing government and private contracts submitted. Statement of the bidder's single largest completed contract or SLCC submitted. Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board or PCAB license submitted. Bid security submitted in form of PSD. Organizational chart for the contract submitted. List of contractors' key personnel submitted. List of contractors' major equipment units submitted. Original duly signed omnibus work statement submitted. And prospective bidders competition of net financial contracting capacity or NFCC submitted. Overall rating for notable enterprises passed the preliminary examination of technical component of the bid. For our last bidder for this project, Hero One String Construction. Valid Belgian registration certificate submitted. Statement of the prospective bidder of all its ongoing government and private contracts submitted. Statement of the bidder single largest completed contract or SLCC submitted. Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board or PCAP license submitted. Bid security submitted in form of BSD. Organizational chart for the contract submitted. List of contractors' key personnel submitted. List of contractors' major equipment units submitted. Original duly signed omnibus warrant statement submitted. And prospective bidders competition of net financial contracting capacity or NFCC submitted. Overall rating for Hero One Strength Construction passed the preliminary examination of technical component of the bid. That's all, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Don. Since all five interested bidders passed their preliminary examination of the proposal, let's now proceed to the opening of the financial proposal of the bids. May I request other members to assist me? Thank you. Five interested bidders submitted their sealed envelope in which there are three copies of their proposals, the original, copy one and copy two. We will evaluate their original copy. May I ask the DPWH?
Yes, me, Madam Chair. I have here the result of the preliminary examination of financial component of the bid for the contract ID 26KH 0088, construction of multipurpose building in Barangay Iponan, Cagayan de Oro City, Misamis, Oriental. Coordinates of 124.60554 and 8.49596. With approved budget for the contract of 14,849,973 pesos and 86 centavos. For our first bidder, Light Construction and Supply. Original of duly signed and accomplished financial bid form submitted. Original of duly signed bid prices in the bill of quantities submitted. Detailed estimates submitted and cash flow by quarter submitted. Overall rating for Light Construction and Supply passed the preliminary examination of financial component of the bid. With their total amount of bid as read is 14,844,942 pesos and 2 centavos. Again, for Light Construction and Supply, their total amount of bid as read is 14,844,942 pesos and 2 centavos. For our second bidder, Advisor Construction Supplies and General Merchandise. Original of duly signed and accomplished financial bid form submitted. Original of duly signed bid prices in the bill of quantities submitted. Detailed estimates submitted and cash flow by quarter submitted. Overall rating for Advisor Construction Supplies and General Merchandise passed the preliminary examination of financial component of the bid with their total amount of bid as read is 14,841,780 pesos and 18 centavos. Again, for Advisor Construction Supplies and General Merchandise, their total amount of bid as read is 14,841,780 pesos and 18 centavos. For our third bidder, Kagalawan Enterprises Incorporated, the original of duly signed and accomplished financial bid form submitted. Original of duly signed bid prices in the bill of quantities submitted. Detailed estimates submitted and cash flow by quarter submitted. Overall rating for Kagalawan Enterprises Incorporated passed the preliminary examination of financial component of the bid with their total amount of bid as read is 14,839,834 pesos and 49 centavos. Again, for Kagalawan Enterprises Incorporated, their total amount of bid as read is 14,839,834 pesos and 49 centavos. For our fourth bidder, Lunabon Enterprises, original of duly signed and accomplished financial bid form submitted. Original of duly signed bid prices in the bill of quantities submitted. Detailed estimates submitted and cash flow by quarter submitted. Overall rating for Lunabon Enterprises passed the preliminary examination of financial component of the bid with their total amount of bid as read is 14,843,296 pesos and 64 centavos. Again, for Lunabon Enterprises, their total amount of bids as read is 14,843,296 pesos and 64 centavos. For our last bidder for this project, Hero One String Construction. Original of June signed an accomplished financial bid form submitted. Original of June signed bid prices in the bill of quantities submitted. Detailed estimates submitted and cash flow by quarter submitted. Overall rating for Hero One Strength Construction passed the preliminary examination of financial component of the bid. With their total amount of bid as read is 14,839,595 pesos and 8 centavos. Again, for Hero One Strength Construction, their total amount of bid as read is 14,839,595 pesos and 8 centavos. That's all, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Todd. Since all 5 interested leaders submitted their requirements for their preliminary examinations of the financial proposal, all of them passed. And will the lowest bidder, Hero One Strength Construction, with the bid amount of 14,839,595 pesos, 8 centavos. Again, all of this is raw bid. All of these are raw bids and are subject for post qualification. May I ask the all observers, sir, ma'am, you have any questions, ma'am? Sir?
At the moment, not yet.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Ms. Wen, do we have any question from the online viewers?
There's none now.
If there is other matters or any issues and concerns related to this opening of bids, this activity is hereby adjourned.
Excuse me, please.
Okay,
Going
sir.
back to contract ID 26H0073.
73, okay, sir.
Okay. Considering that it was Victoria Development Ventures who offered the lowest bid in the amount of 90,203,921,040 centavos. May I know the local address? But this bid is subject to financial, legal, and technical scrutiny.
Yes, sir.
May I know the local address of the subject contractor in order to determine distance between the subject project and the location of the contractor address? Saan siya ang contractor?
For our team from based in his certificate of jobs registration, sir, Victoria Development and Ventures Corporation. They have their main office at Capilan, Talibon City, Barangay 69, Tacloban City, Lake Region 8. Local,
Is
do you mean the branch
major-
officer?
Majors niya taga saan? Say.
Actually, sir, their firm, their name of the firm is Victoria Development and Ventures Corporation, but they don't have ventures in this, joint venture for this particular project, sir.
Okay.
Is there any other questions, sir?
the moment wala na. Thank you, thank you.
Yes, sir, thank you. Since no other questions and issues, concerns is addressed. This opening of bids is hereby adjourned. Thank you and good morning.